Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode 118 of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Nate Maxon, your host, here with you, along with, of course, as always, my brother Aaron.
Hello, hello, hello.
And he who is Mr. Archie Mitchell.
Woo!
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How's it going out there on this fine evening as we ring in Happy New Year to our listeners, by the way, as the first episode of 2021.
Pretty good. I mean, I had a shit day at work, but we're doing this now, so it's going to be fun.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And before we get into the meat of the matter here, this week we are going to be discussing two topics. One is a Madison Square Garden show from March 17th of 1985. And the funny thing about this show, I mean, I guess I could get to it later. I'll just say it now, though. For all the wrestling that I watch and for all the stuff that all the Madison Square Garden shows, Boston Garden shows, Philly Spectrum shows that I've watched, if I have ever watched this show before, I do not remember it because as I was watching it, there was a lot of things that I did not remember.
I found myself going, wow, this was before WrestleMania 1, but yet I don't remember like a lot of. I mean, we watch Coliseum videos, we watch all the old stuff, and there's never a replay of anything that happened at the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the part with Mr. T and Roddy Piper, not to get deep into it. I thought that would have been replayed to the high heavens.
Right.
Back in the day.
And I went into it, and a lot of times when we do like a show like this, I look at the matches.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just look at the card before I watch it, you know, just because like maybe I want to write something down, and you know what I mean, like maybe write pre-notes or whatever. When I looked at it, I was like, I don't think I'm going to have a lot. I even texted Nate and said, I don't think I'm going to have a lot on this show. But I got more out of it than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. I was like, wow, I'm going to be bored. But I was making customs and whatever. I put it on and put my earphones on. And I actually put the custom down and began watching. Like literally paying attention. Like, I got to see what's going to happen. Even though I knew everything that was about to happen.
It's a good little house show.
Yep,
and
I agree.
Yes, it is. And we are also going to be discussing a fan-suggested match suggested by Facebook group member and podcast listener Nathan Roberts. Nathan suggested the match between Sting and Diamond Dallas Page from Nitro on April 26th, 1999.
And I thought when I heard that, I was very upset. I was like, Nathan, how could you do that to us? It was actually better than I expected. And the storyline around it was great. The whole show. I even watched matches after the match was over.
What's this cat's name?
Nathan Roberts.
Nathan Roberts. I texted Nate, or I almost texted Nate and was going to be like, do I have to be nice because he picked this match? And then I was like, I'm not going to ask him. I'm just going to be honest. So.
Well, we will get into that here in just a moment, but we would be remiss, and we already discussed it with Chad Austin on the Reliving the Extreme podcast, but I just wanted to touch on it here as well. I was kind of hoping Kyle would be with us to talk about this. We would be remiss if we did not mention the passing of Brody Lee.
Yes.
And, of course, Danny Hodge this week. But Danny Hodge, I mean, 88 years old. The man lived a long life. Not so much a shock that he passed, but definitely a shock with the passing of Brody Lee this week. He was, and Aaron knows this, even back to his internet darling days, he was always one of my favorite of the modern guys. There was always something about him that stood out. You know, the way he moved, his psychology in the ring, the way he did his moves when he'd be on the outside of the ring going, yeah. You know, just little things about Brody that he was one of those. I think he was one of those new guys that had an old school spirit, an old school soul.
Exactly.
You know, you could have plopped him down in Georgia or in Mid-South in 1984, 1983, and he would have fit right in.
Yep.
And from all intents and purposes, from everything that you've heard about him over the past week or so, an amazing guy, an amazing family man.
Maybe the most loved wrestler I've ever seen because people just outpoured with stories about how generous.
Yeah, it was almost
sweet,
like it's
almost like Owen.
Yeah, I was about to say it's been almost like when Owen passed.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and I watched the I finally got to watch the AEW tribute show last night, and they did a very good job.
I choked up a few times.
I was pretty good through most of the show, but man, when his kid came out,
yeah,
I was like, "It's his kid. Sorry about you, Daddy."
Exactly.
But yeah, it was. They did a good job, and like I said, I just rest in peace, Brody. And do you guys have anything to say on the topic?
Well, what I'll
Go
say
ahead,
on
man.
the topic is, anybody that would try to say that, and you guys know me, I'm not a modern product guy. Okay, I mean, I watch it if there's something that piques my interest, or I say, "Oh, watch this, watch that." I'll take a look. But anybody that would try to say that, like something that really pissed me off, and it was it was a little thing. JR took that boy to like a Jaguars game or something like that. I don't know what game he took him to or whatever. But JR and AEW tweeted that Jim Ross is taking Brody Lee's kid to this game, and like some of the internet wrestling community was just like, "Oh, look at AEW trying to get good press and shit." Like, fuck off.
Right.
Jim Ross was just trying to take a boy that lost his dad to a fucking football game,
right?
Kind of take his mind off of it.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with the company putting that out there.
Right.
No, not at all.
And that's all. Like, and then the Bruce Mitchell thing is fucking. He deserved to get fired.
He deserved to get fired.
And, like, anybody that tries to take, and Nate, you talked about it a little bit, and when you and Chad were talking, I didn't want to overstep what Chad was saying because he was talking about it from a personal level or whatever. I'm talking about it from just looking at it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to celebrate somebody that was your friend and wanting to put it out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Like watching like I posted it on our page that Britt Baker posted that video from their Brody's I'm assuming it was his wake or whatever you want to call it, where fucking Adam took the choke slam from his boy or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to share that with people and putting that out. It's not trying to get like kudo points or whatever. It's just celebrating a guy that there was a lot of people's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that tries to say, "Oh, they're trying to get this or they're trying to get that," it's like, fuck off.
Yeah. And to the same respect, anybody that has done anything to make this about themselves and their little goofy internet wrestling community can fuck off, because just like the people that
definitely.
You have people that comment on posts, or that I've seen comment or make posts, I guess is what I'm trying to say, about how all WWE did was put up the little thing at the beginning of the show. Well, okay. However, firstly, that's what they do for anybody that doesn't currently work there.
Right.
And also, if those people would first of all, it's stupid that they bring it up in the first place.
Right.
Secondly, if those people would take 25 seconds to go to WWE's either YouTube page or WWE.com, they've let every wrestler who wants to do a tribute do a tribute. They had that amazing video that had like all that indie footage and stuff in it. That was a really cool video they did for him.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't put it on their TV show doesn't mean they were like, "Oh, fuck John Huber,"
The people who say things like that or question WWE, how they said goodbye and whatnot, I feel that those same kind of people, like at a funeral, look at somebody and go, "Why aren't you crying?"
Right. Or
tell somebody how to mourn.
What I see when I see that is I see narcissism. What I see is somebody that posts something like that during a time like this is somebody that's like, hey, I'm still here. Look at me.
Right.
I'm still. You should be looking at me. Look at me. Give me attention. Just let things be how they are, and let the companies and the coworkers honor the guy's memory the way they want to.
Exactly.
And I think, like I said, I think that both companies did a great job honoring him, and it really is. It's a terrible, terrible shame that he's gone so young.
It is.
It
is. But AEW Um, that was by far one of the best remembrance shows since Owen or Eddie, for that matter. Right up there with them. They truly showed that for the short period of time that John worked there, that he was loved, because John joined them 6 or 7 months ago. He wrestled for about 2.5, 3 months, and then he's been off TV since. So for him to make that kind of impact on the new people that work there, as well as all of his friends, it just goes to show what kind of legacy that man left behind.
And plus, like with the AEW thing, it's like those guys might have not worked AEW with them that long, but they were the guys that really worked the indies and all that shit with them. And not saying shit like shit, you know what I mean? But also, like, the last thing I'll say on it is, Nate, you said like people were like, "Oh, WWE just put like a little sign up saying like John Huber this date to this date." Everything you want to say about Vince McMahon, what does Vince McMahon do? Vince McMahon takes care of people that haven't even worked there for 20 fucking years. If somebody goes to Vince McMahon and says, "I want to go into rehab," Vince McMahon's going to make sure you go into rehab. I'm not saying John Huber need to go to. I'm using this as an example. No. You cannot tell me that Vince McMahon didn't undercover do something for that family.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. For sure. Or if they came to him and said they needed something, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So that's my opinion on the Brody Lee situation.
Sad situation, but we had not got together as a pod to talk since it happened, so I just wanted to cover that real quick.
And kudos to MJF for taking that bump for that boy.
Yeah. And then also on Twitter, he was like, "Fuck that kid." Yeah, but that's MJF and Brody. I guarantee you, Brody Jr. laughed, and I guarantee you, Brody was on high laughing about it too.
Yep.
And I listened to JR's podcast, and they were Conrad talked to him about it, and JR said he didn't know a lot about John Huber, and he was surprised. I shouldn't say surprised. He was like, I didn't know the impact that this guy had on the people that were around him, because JR didn't know him that long. And he said when he took that boy to that football game, he was just like, "Man, my dad talked so much about told like was just telling him all like the good things that John Huber had said about JR, and JR was like, he's a good man, you know."
Yeah.
So,
well, moving on from a sad story to, well, we'll find out if it's a sad story or not. The match of the week here, as suggested by Nathan Roberts from our Facebook group and one of our listeners, and Aaron is already ping it. But this match again from April 26, 1999, Monday Nitro in Fargo, North Dakota, and during the, let's see, this would be, we're about 5 months away from Eric Bischoff being released from the company. He got released in September of 99. So we're about 6 months away from Vince Russo, bro.
New York rules, bro.
Yeah, bro. And kind of the dwindling down, WWE's kind of, what do I want to say? Every single week, handing WCW their ass at this point on a platter. No questions asked. Even though WWF 99 is pretty shit too. They were definitely kicking their ass in the ratings at this point. And you get into at this point in the company where you have multiple title changes on one show, or we're hot-shotting putting the title on, I don't know, David Flair or something. I mean, it was kind of desperate at this point.
Nate, Ric Flair isn't a mental institution as this show starts.
Now, I'll tell you what, though.
Okay.
Even though the premise of it is stupid,
that's entertaining shit.
That stuff was funny.
Oh, no. I'm not saying it's not funny, but
it's stupid.
Like, one of my favorite things of all time in wrestling is when Ric Flair walks into the psych ward right at the beginning of it, and he's just got his robe on and his boxers, and he's just like, "Woo!" And he
Yep.
And all the psycho patients are like, woo,
Woo, woo, woo.
Let's
this
go,
is another
Triple H.
prime example of what I told you guys last week. The WCW Kevin Sullivan had a fucking fetish for fucking mentally retarded people.
All right, we'll spend the night together. So this match, again, Monday Nitro, April 26, 1999. It is Sting versus WCW World Champion Diamond Dallas Page. Now, Archie, you said you watched the whole show. I only watched the match.
I only watched the match too.
So I don't know much of the context here.
Well, what had gone down is this is no longer Wolfpack Sting. This is Sting as a loner again.
With funny boots.
No friends with funny
white
boots.
Those are my notes.
Those white boot shields that he's wearing make him look like a toddler going to preschool for the first time. Which is all black. That was what made it weird. See if there would have been something else white on him besides his makeup.
Yeah.
But it's just white boots. Okay, Sting. All right.
That's my third note. Sting's boots are weird.
Weird.
Seriously. It's on there.
So the match was made because what had happened was Diamond Dallas Page took out Hulk Hogan weeks prior. Literally broke Hogan's leg in a match because he put him in the figure 4 on the ring post. So then they set up a match between Diamond Dallas Page and Goldberg. Diamond Dallas Page pulled a chicken shit heel move and was about to screw Goldberg over. Kevin Nash coming out to defend Hulk Hogan, which I guess the NWO is now faces.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. That's what I couldn't tell because Diamond Dallas Page is the main heel on the show. Diamond Dallas Page gets taken out by Nash, and so Ric Flair calls Charles Robinson because that's Ric Flair's go-to guy because Ric Flair's the president of the company.
But he's in a mental institution.
And he's in a mental institution where he was put by, I believe, the president of WCW at the time, which was not Eric Bischoff. They kept saying Brad Siegel and the other guys that we used to see on TV weekly. He calls Charles Robinson. You make Sting versus DDP tonight, woo, because that'll blow the roof off of this place, Daddy. And for the pay-per-view, you make Goldberg versus DDP. And everybody's like, okay, great. Charles Robinson makes the match. And then the match happens. And Sting comes out with the funny boots.
All you listeners, did you hear Archie describing all of the machinations going on? This is 99 in pro wrestling in a nutshell, people. This is like all that crazy shit that just led up to this match in the middle of a Nitro. Not even the main event, in the middle of a Nitro.
All I kept thinking was, dude, I was 18 during this time and actually busting to watch this shit. Like, I can't go anywhere on a Monday. Raw's on, a Nitro, you know what I mean?
But WCW 1999 is the worst year of any professional wrestling, like any major professional wrestling company pre-COVID era.
Yeah, right, without COVID going on. Right.
Terrible.
It
starts out super boring, and then it becomes a fucking fever dream.
Right. Exactly.
And DDP is in the top 5 worst WCW champions of all time. I have a list if people want to hear it, but DDP's in the top 5.
Is David Arquette number 1?
Nope.
Then I don't want to hear it. I refuse to hear it. No, I'm kidding.
He's number 2. He's number 2.
Oh, he's on the list. Okay.
Do you guys want to hear my list of worst WCW champions of all time? The worst WCW champions of all time are, and I'll start from the bottom. I'll start with 5 and work my way up. Kevin Nash, Jeff Jarrett, Diamond Dallas Page, David Arquette, and Vince Russo. That's the worst WCW champions of all time.
Why is Nash on that list, though?
Because he did nothing for nobody and did nothing for the belt.
All right.
I probably would not put him in my top 5, but I know what Aaron's saying. Like I get it. I would definitely rank his WWF title run as Diesel over any of his WCW title runs.
Nope.
And also at the time he was booking. So
Well, here's the thing, though. His first WCW World Title run, Finger Poke of Doom, he lost it to Hogan. Second one, I think he held it for like 6 weeks and then lost it. And then his third one, he gave it to Flair.
His first one was with Goldberg.
Yeah, he beat Goldberg. And then the very next night was the Finger Poke of Doom, and he lost it to Hogan. So he gave it up in one day. He held it for 6 weeks after that, and I think either he lost it to Paige or Sting probably, or God knows who. Wasn't
he champion during one of those thunders or those like random thunders or something where they'd start out with
everybody was the fucking champion during Thunder.
They'd start out with like Nash as champion, then he'd lose it to Flair, then he'd give it back to Flair.
He walked out and literally handed it to himself. Basically, out of 3 title reigns, he basically held the title for 8 days. Like
I think Buzz Stern held it for like 3 minutes.
Sergeant
on
Buddy
fucking
Lee
Thunder. Yeah.
Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker had it a couple times too.
No, so that's my list of worst WCW champions.
I agree with it. I
had to get a list on the show.
We got Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay calling the match. Those guys were always good together.
But they're arguing like 2 little girls that just gave gossip on each other to a girl that shouldn't know it. Like,
and that's probably because they didn't give them a color guy to be on here with them.
Yeah, but they hated each other, so it was really coming out too.
When you had Tony and Mike with maybe Bobby Heenan or and I'm not saying this guy's any good, or a Mark Madden or just somebody in between them.
Even Larry Zbyszko.
Larry Zbyszko, yeah.
If Mark Madden would have been between them, they wouldn't even hurt each other because they were so far away.
At one point, Mike Tenay says, Tony Schiavone says, a great arm drag by Sting. And Mike Tenay literally says, with all of his saltiness, oh, wow, you actually know the name of the moves? And Tony Schiavone said, oh, you're actually paying attention to me this week? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're not a married couple. Why are they arguing like this?
If Mark Madden would have been between them, it would have been like Bob Keidel and fucking Vern Gagne calling the match. They would have been like, huh? What did you say?
What?
Huh?
His name's Diamond Dallas Sage. What are you?
How much does this guy weigh?
How much does this guy weigh?
Dumpy Frumpy Barge.
Bruno comes in out of nowhere. I'll tell you.
I'll tell you. That's hot.
So the match.
Speaking of hot, I'll say this: for everything I hate about this match, at least the crowd was into it.
Oh yeah,
I have here the start off of the match pops the crowd, and the crowd stays with it, and the match is over throughout. Now you could chalk it up to a couple of things. First of all, whether you like DDP or not, Aaron, he was a big star at this time, as was Sting. Right. And you could also chalk it up to, if you remember back in the day when Nitro and Raw were touring the country and wrestling was hot shit, whenever they would go to one of these towns like Fargo or something that they didn't go to a lot, then people were into it. Like, we got Nitro, baby. I don't care what, you can put shit on a plate.
This is much better than the pig race.
We're gonna pop for Public Enemy versus High Voltage.
Right. Yeah. Honey, put on your good dress tonight. Why? We going to the tractor pull? No.
We're going to wrestling.
We ain't going to the tractor pull. The fucking Vianos are showing up.
We're going wrestling.
That Psychosis is in town. We gonna watch him defend his cruiserweight title against Rey Mysterio Jr.
Only way I like a Mexican as a wrestler.
What they call those boys? Lucha Libre?
Put on your good potato sack. We're going
and bring the potato salad.
So we have WWF? No, it's WWF.
Sorry if we offended you hillbillies.
Yeah, sorry guys. We really went on a tangent.
I'm one of you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. DDP gets some good heel heat in this match too. Like I actually wrote down here that looking back at it,
DDP actually tells somebody to fuck off.
well, no,
if you
and
watch the match, he says fuck off. Like somebody yells at him, and Paige is like fuck off, like right into the camera.
like Aaron is, if you listen to this show, you know Aaron is not a fan of Diamond Dallas Page. I'm a man of two opinions on DDP. I do not like babyface Diamond Dallas Page, but I always thought DDP was a really good heel, even when he was like young and like fat DDP. When he was the fat DDP and he was a heel, or even here, like when he did the trifecta thing with Canyon and Bam Bam. I always like DDP as a heel. So I enjoyed him in this match.
Do you want to know what's in my notes? Kind of on that.
Mm-hmm.
My notes say if DDP never became a wrestler and always stayed as a manager, I'd have absolutely no problem with him.
He was a good manager. He was a good
manager. That's what I'm saying. Like, and even if he would be like, managing a tag team, and maybe every 6 months he gets involved in like their match, and it's
like he did in the AWA.
Right. Yeah, or like when he would manage like the Diamond Stud or Vinny Vegas, and he's like in the match or something. I got no problem with that.
But
if he would have been if he would have been, and I'm not comparing him to this guy because the guy I'm about to mention is 10 times the better performer than DDP, but like if he would have been like a Colonel Robert Parker, like have like a faction, like this is my diamond collection or diamond mine.
They called it Diamond Mine, yeah.
Yeah, if he would have never done anything other than that, I would tell you, I enjoy Diamond Dallas Page. I enjoy Diamond Dallas Page as a personality, but in the ring, I have no fucking time.
But I have a question though. Had he stayed a manager, would have Scotty Flamingo actually gotten over?
Scotty Flamingo never got over.
Would
Raven got over, but Scotty Flamingo
became Raven though, or would he have stayed Scotty Flamingo?
Yeah, he still would have became Raven.
That just gave me a little thing. The next episode we do, I want to do a what if episode.
Okay, I like.
But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But on back into the match, the DDP does a cool little beg out where he gets out of the ring. They have an exchange in the middle of the ring. Once again, big pop, and Sting puts DDP to the floor. Here you go. DDP tries to walk out. Sting comes after him. I wrote down here, more 1999 pro wrestling. Now we're into the walking brawl.
Yeah, and that's what starting in 1999, both companies did this. Starting in 1999, they started saying, "Oh, the referee is giving leeway."
Yep, I was just about to say that.
And this was their way of fucking getting out of lazy creative and booking in matches.
Right. They have to do it somehow.
And if you ask me, if I'm running a wrestling company, like I'm the promoter, and I'm paying this guy to be a referee and control this match, but then they're just like, "Oh, the referee's giving him leeway." Like, hey, motherfucker, you're half-assing this shit.
Right.
I'm paying you to do a fucking job and make sure this fucking job gets done. But this ref's just like, fuck it.
I've heard so many times that if a wrestler doesn't kick out at 2 because like they're so dazed, the referee is ordered to count the additional 3 and end the match. Or if a wrestler breaks a rule, like for some reason, if a tag team match is going on and the wrestler comes in to break up the thing, the pin, the ref can actually call for a disqualification, and we've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing this, and here, Mickey J is giving them some leeway here because it's a world title match. Well, wait a minute. They've been wrestling for 20 minutes already. What leeway do they need? Get them back in the ring and let's end the match. There's still 3 hours of a show to go on.
And that's how you know when you watch those WWF shows, the old WWF shows back in the 90s, like 98, 99. That's how you know, you can tell the stuff that because they say that Vince McMahon just wanted to know from Vince Russo what was going on with the top 5 guys. He wanted to know what was going on with other than that, just book the show, pal.
Right.
You watch, and I guarantee you, anytime you ever saw, because they did, like, to me, the guys that were the best, because Brett and Austin did it, they kind of started it at WrestleMania 13, and that was perfect. But to me, the guys that together perfected the walk and brawl were Austin and The Rock. And that was perfect for those guys because firstly, and I'm not saying The Rock wasn't a good athlete and a good performer, but he wasn't a great wrestler. He wasn't a great technical wrestler. He was more flash. And Austin could not work the style he did when he was stunning Steve. So for those two to go out and have an amazing walk and brawl was awesome. It was an awesome spectacle. The point that I was getting to though is,
can I say something about the 13?
Let me finish this about what I was saying about Vince. If you ever notice, there might be some walk and brawl bullshit going on through other matches or in another show. But whenever it happened with the main event guys like an Austin or a Rock, there was always that mention of, well, this is a no disqualification, no count out match. There was a reason for it to be a walk and brawl.
That's what I was saying about 13. 13 was a submission match.
Mm-hmm. I know. No, I wasn't saying anything bad about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why that's why I wouldn't say it about that match. So yeah, 13 was a submission match. So there isn't any count out. There isn't any disqualification.
Right.
So these guys can fight all over the fucking place. Or like Brett and Sean at Survivor Series, they do a walk and brawl on that thing.
But the bell never rings before they do it.
Got in the fucking ring, and then when they hit the ring, then it's ding ding ding. Now the shit's going, and they never left the ring again.
Right.
This was a major.
They fight for like 5 minutes out of the ring.
Yeah, this was a major disconnect in this match for me.
Right.
They get back into the ring. Sting makes a good comeback and then completely fucks up a pile driver.
Yep.
That pile driver was actually kind of scary. Like I was like, oh my God.
I don't know how DDP is walking right now.
I don't know how he didn't at least get a stinger. Yeah.
Right.
And then they decide to try to do that again. So this time they do it as a tombstone pile driver. There's a low blow by DDP. However, Sting comes back, Scorpion Death Drop, and gets the win. 1, 2, 3. And
Tony Schiavone acts like if it's the first time Sting has ever won a world title. I mean, I understand he wanted to put Sting over and, okay, the title's on him. But talk about shitting on Diamond Dallas Page's reign.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Sting's took the belt. Oh, my God, this is amazing. This is the greatest Nitro in history. And meanwhile, here's Mike today on the mic going, really, Tony? The greatest again in the history? We had that one last week.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just like DDP shit on his reign enough. You don't need to do it.
Right. You know, and then
I have to say, I know I'm probably being more generous than Aaron will be. I don't know about you, Archie, but I actually gave this match 3 out of 5.
3.
Jeff Farmer Yeps. All right, yep. Archie also went with 3.
It was an entertaining match for what it was. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They actually had a decent amount of time, and then it unfolded more of a story. So
right. What do you think, Aaron?
2 stars.
All right.
2? That's more than I thought you'd give it.
Not horrible. So
I like Sting.
Right.
That was what it was. Not his stupid boots, and he's definitely not Randy Savage. Like why couldn't Nathan Roberts have wanted us to watch the fucking Great American Bash or fucking Spring Stampede Savage?
So get this now.
The only good things that fucker ever did.
Sting celebrates, match ends. We go to commercial, right? We come back. We find out that the Macho Man Randy Savage was supposedly suspended by Ric Flair, but reinstated by Commissioner, I believe they said it was Mike Sanders, so I guess this is when Mike Sanders started to get his own.
It was like way before Mike Sanders.
No, it was somebody real. I forgot the name exactly. I watched it a week ago.
It wasn't Piper, was it?
Yes, it was Piper.
Okay, because I was going to say, I know Piper's the one. The Piper's the one that put him in the loony bin or whatever.
Right.
This is insane. I love it.
Is back for one night only because he's going to be in Gorgeous George's corner when she fights Charles Robinson at the next pay-per-view. And if
I take it back.
How did WCW? How did
fucking awesome?
How did this company ever go out of business with booking like this?
I take it back. 99 WCW is pretty awesome.
They're fighting for something, guys. If Gorgeous George wins, Randy Savage is completely reinstated. And Rowdy Piper is now the president of WCW. If Charles Robinson
Think shit's
wins,
crazy now.
Piper is fired, and so is Savage, but Flair also gets to spend the night with Gorgeous George.
Take it back. I love me some WCW.
We're not
1999.
done. We're not done. We're going to get a Gorgeous George training montage later on. So we then go back to Looney Bin. And Charles Robinson's like, Sting won the belt. And Flair's like, woo, yes, Sting won the belt. That's great for ratings. That's great for this company. Woo, I love Sting. Yeah, okay, but you used to feud with him for years upon end. Okay, fine. Book Sting versus DDP versus Goldberg at the next pay. He's like, yeah, but Nash has the next title shot. And well, we'll fix it. Just book Sting versus Goldberg. It's the match everybody's been waiting for. Woo! Hangs up the phone. They announce that match. Here comes Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash bitches and moans. Says he wants the title match, but he doesn't want to wait for the pay-per-view. He wants it to be at the ending of tonight. Goldberg, Nash, DDP, and Sting in a fatal four-way elimination match for the world title Sting just won. And then Sting comes out and says, yes. We go back to the Looney Bin where Flair is on the phone with Charles. I'm sitting there going, guys, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, if I go to the Looney Bin, I can be on the phone all day long. Like he had too much phone approval, you know? So they book the match, and before the night is over, spoiler alert, everybody who wants to watch this, DDP is champion by the end of the show.
Jesus Christ.
So Sting was the champion for 2 hours and 12 minutes.
So here's what happened, Nathan. Nathan Roberts, good on you because, well, you gave Aaron a match that he wasn't too happy with, but you gave Archie an adventure. You're the adventure Archie went on.
You gave me 3 hours of greatness. This totally made me forget about New York rules, bro.
His toy hunting sucked a dick, but this Nitro event was amazing.
Right.
So for next week's listener suggested match, going back to my post that I made in our Facebook group about coming
up to mine?
Making a match playlist. Well, whenever we do. I guess we'll do mine last. I'm the one that started it. But
shitty fucking answer.
You're never doing mine, so that doesn't matter.
Nope. Did it once. That's enough.
That was the most political answer I've ever heard in my life.
We'll do it when we do it.
Yeah. Are we doing mine? We will. We will.
Aaron, I think you were like the 15th or the 16th comment, so we're far away.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You guys in June.
Steve Salamonson suggested that we watch. I'm pretty excited about this one. Actually, I love this match. The Steiner Brothers versus the Nasty Boys at Halloween Havoc 1990.
Now you're speaking my language.
So we will be reviewing that match next week.
If I'm not mistaken, the canvas of the ring is red at that pay-per-view.
It's orange.
Awesome.
Orange.
Yeah.
And the ropes are like black and orange, like stripe. Mm-hmm. That pay-per-view is one of my like vivid memories from my childhood.
Yeah, we used to watch that shit on VHS all the time, man.
That is
Mom would take us a video connection and we'd rent that goddamn video and watch that shit. That was good stuff.
That's the Halloween Havoc that Barry Windham dresses up like Sting and lets Sid Vicious pin him.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
It's got Luger and Stan Hansen.
Yep.
For the U.S. title. Yeah, it's a great pay-per-view.
I couldn't believe how much Wyndham looked like Sting when he cut his hair into a buzz cut and put on the makeup. As a kid, I was like, damn, that's Sting. And then, no, that's Barry Windham. As an adult, I was like, fuck, that's Barry Windham.
Well, yeah. we talked about Roddy Piper talking to the Ric Flair in the Looney Bin earlier. Roddy Piper is on the show we are going to discuss when we return from our break. Yes, sir. May 17th, 1985, the WWF in Madison Square Garden, just 2 weeks away from the first WrestleMania. Oh, my. The first WrestleMania. And we will be bringing that to you, our review of that show, when we return.
Retake that shit. You sounded disgusting.
Class all around, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll be right back. No way I'm editing that. It's staying.